day, Vibe Tribe. Rocking with your favorite friendly entertainer, Stickity Stickity Motivator, with the vibes that are greater. That is your girl and your Odyssey. Also known as Jenny Beats. Stickity Stickity. And so I don't have a speaker connected to my PC. So we're listening through the headbones. Through the headphones. Why are we listening through the headphones? Because really? Stiggity, stiggity. How was your day been, Vibe Tribe? Got this top light. Maybe we should turn on the dim light. I have this mirror. And your Odyssey's a big kid now. Born to wonk. Who would have thought? You know. I'm born to wonk, It's my job to have an opinion and things and stuff and such. First make things and stuff and such a business, Are you good now? So how old are you? Oh yeah, to be the youngest person and maybe the oldest person, in a delegation of understanding, a delegation of practice, a delegation of perspective, a delegation of experience, a delegation of, is your experience my experience? I'm going to make your experience my experience, Beautiful. Absolutely. Make sure that your, sex doll is not, hotter than my sex doll because I may have an opinion about it. And, $5 opinion, that could be your $5 life, Or maybe I just enjoy to, read your sweet nothings. Things and stuff and such. Oh, be nice. Oh, be nice. Learn what nice is before you ask people to be nice. Oh, you look similar to me? Does that mean we're supposed to have respect for each other? No, I don't think so. What about you? How's your fever, Anna? There's no fever. It is quite a dream that we experience, We all have phones nowadays. Learn the relevance of phones. Learn the relevance of things and stuff and such. 30 degrees, way too cold, so hold me tight. Will I see you at the show tonight? Tell me that there's a show. Don't tell me that there's a show. Learning without learning. That's more than you, I would imagine. I would imagine. And your Odyssey. Processed by reverse osmosis. Do you want it? I have a Penner roasted Chen and BKF. Alright, you know, type bubbly, same to you. An era. So I was thinking about eras. You know, eras of thought, you know, eras of enjoyment, you know, and, you know, you don't necessarily think you'd want to fall within eras of enjoyment if, you know, the enjoyment had to do with bullying bullies, would you? Then don't take it. Were you that kid at school that would bully kids? Or would you bully the bullies? Because, you know, it was a little bit more rewarding things and stuff and such. It is rewarding. Hi. Am I studying or not? To study, practice. To practice, study. I'm definitely studying. Oh, what if you didn't know yourself until, you know, you were relevant? Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot, hoes all on me. Did you just call yourself a hoe? Is there some science that, you know, allows hoology? It's the art of zoology for the zoologists. You know, merely spectating, because porn is definitely not a sport. And if it was, then why would I care about your opinion? Well, it's, you know, based around how many times you could, smoke weed. The weed will last 5 minutes. Thank God I woke up today. My friend was like, would you like to come and smoke with me? I was like, sure. That would be nice. Thank you, bubbly. Rain is falling on my window pane, and we are hiding in a safer place. Undercover, staying safe and warm. You give me feelings that I adore. Starts on my toes, makes me crinkle my nose. Wherever it goes, I always know. 'Cause you make me smile, please stay for a while now. Just take your time, wherever you go. What if you were one of the people that you know, that was blessed with, you know, let me create time for you to take in your odyssey. Sheesh. Especially here. Wouldn't that be a perspective? It's a perspective. It's a practice. You know, it's perfection. You know, because practice is supposed to make you make you in a way that you're proud of yourself. You know, I'm going to save the lives of all the people that look like me. I'm going to enhance their lives with, you know, radical entertainment and radical, you know, self-expression. You know, what if self-expression was entertainment? Entertainment was self-expression? Do you know yourself through the essence of self-expression? Or do you know yourself through the essence of efficacy. In that case, shall we understand what efficacy is? Efficacy. Efficacy. The ability to produce a desired or intended result. Interesting. I would claim myself to be a fully functioning adult. I was speaking about era. Eras and error. You know, does your existence create era for me? You know, that was an era of thought, you know. Who would have thought that practice spamming words in the comments would become practice? Let's just wait until it's relevant to, you know, something I'm guessing at. Guess away in that case. You're not the leader of me. I'll have to listen to, and you honestly don't have to listen to a gosh darn thing that you mention or that you say. Because, you know, you're just, who would be really jealous of somebody that's younger than them, that was, you know, projected to be better than, you know, and to create a whole, you know, era of people with opinions that don't necessarily have to match your opinion. Because if you subscribe to something that I don't subscribe to, you know, all respects to you, you know, stay in your lane, you know. Do I want to know what the view of life is like on Mars? No, because it's probably a bleak view, you know, a bleak, opaque. At least you could buy strippers with those freaking Twitter fingers. First code to me through a software codex what a stripper is and the relevance of a stripper within proximity. Within proximity. So whenever I visited Florida, oh, and you would think this, you would think, oh, you know, and Odyssey is Puerto Rican, so she's going to self-identify with another Puerto Rican. Yeah, right, what if that Puerto Rican was jealous of me because somehow Odyssey is better than, you know, because Odyssey has, you know, some tricks up her sleeves, as you know, to not mention, or to mention to notice, because, you know, I noticed your freaking comments. And so what if your comments, you know, are literally a whole era of me either enjoying or not enjoying what you have to say? Because your job is to figure out how a 30-year-old is to feel about herself. She's a full, you know, Odyssey is a fully functioning adult. Bubbly, why was his medicine expired? Time heals all wounds is, you know, is how they would mention things and stuff and such. Because, I'm allowed to let you practice. I'm allowed to study your practice because what if I want to, create business similar to you? Definitely wouldn't need to learn how to be on your nerves. Is that your entertainment? Your entertainment nerve? Oh, you're not entertained, you're bored. I'm bored of entertainment. Never be alone. Oh, bored of entertainment. Never be alone. Maybe you have to process reality and, the journey to, that other people have to sort through, while Andres, it is the wrong place here. Find out somewhere else. Where have you been all my life? Oh yeah, they never talk about virgins, religion or tradition, because that's not a perspective. Do I like brown hair? Stating. I didn't understand anything. Yeah, maybe don't read into that one in your Odyssey. Google it. There was an Indian doctor that had delivered me. Fun fact. Okay. Who would have thought that, he would sponsor my life? Good girl, Evolution is learning from mistakes, creating mistakes, and, learning from other people's mistakes, learning from, your own mistakes. It's good to know. How old are you? Good girl. And the name Ella. I can call you. Learning perspective. The software of perspective. And the perspective of, coding a phone. I was driving this guy to work and to and from work. And I was sleeping all day, because I was bored. And, I didn't necessarily want to watch TV, didn't necessarily want to watch movies. So I would sleep until I would have to drive to pick him up. Well, one of those days I was like, what's on the market, the Google market. And then I found live streaming, Who would have ever thought that would become a practice? The moment that I learned that, you can apply practice to whatever kind of, notion, business. And also, hello everyone, it's nice to be the person at the party that is, that is shiny, that is beautiful, that is, outspoken, outgoing, things and stuff and such. To understand the importance of time. I would maybe not differentiate, your time from my time, because maybe within, my time alive, your experience was supposed to be, halted through perspective. The perspective that, somehow if you have, a life that is better than me, or somehow I become your life because, one day and your galaxy is destined to be better than you, I felt something good, that's why I messaged you. So, to know the capital of Jordan. That's what I was mentioning, to study the practice of practice. Sometimes habit becomes part of practice. Do you think it was habit for me to stay with an individual for around 10 years? It became a habit. It became a practice to be around that person, to please that person, and, what they may want from life or in general. And when are we gonna, draw a line to, toleration, because I'm not gonna say that you've been tolerating, anything, because I'm not the kind of person to put words in your mouth. Whenever it comes to the group, the online group of sex games, I wouldn't mention that maybe sex games and Hunger Games, things and stuff and such. Shout out to the person who wrote that movie, because Jenny's over here mocking your practice, because, to be more than allowed to live, you wouldn't mention to yourself somehow quietly that your life has to do with, data statistics and death. And, if practicing death as a practice, war, that is a whole blog of, that's a genre of thought, because wouldn't you want something that you heard on the radio to come alive? And what if the thing that was coming alive was staring you right in the fucking face? Because it's it's so scary. I'm so scared of you and your Odyssey. I want you to realize that I'm a brownie, that power was distinguished, in my birthright. And my birthright was to find you, to try to hate on you, because what if, females could drive, and, a female could fuck up a 40-year-old that is, all high and mindful, all, 5 ways to Sunday, don't piece to me his, wishes, for from the wishing well, in life or now. That's siggity. Now, now to know, or now to, now to know or now to go, because, I still have experimentation with the rest of my life, Who would have thought that maybe a 30-year-old would be more relevant than, your life, your practice, and your freaking, your group chats? Because what if, I realized your group chat, and I was like, one day, I'm gonna have my own fully functioning adult, studying 10th grade this year, now chatting here. We'll, oh, there are 40-year-old legendaries? Based on, how delusional they are, or their Twitter following, because, their jokes are not adding up. Then I don't tell. Diagnose street problems with a joint. Right? Smoke 2 joints in the morning. Smoke 2 joints at night. It is alright. It was really nice. Have you ever been really nice to someone? Like, I'm being nice by, allowing you to exist. Especially in the realms of considerating. You made friends or not, Learn how to make friends online, girl. Because, there are girls out there that, would gun for you because you are, popular. Learn what popularity is online and your honesty. It could be a dangerous, haven if God didn't, say, this brownie's my brownie, Fuck all your other brownies. Like, I have a brownie, hey. And, one day this brownie is going to have a purpose. One day that purpose is going to be, having to do with the efficacy of genocide. And genocide, within, perspective, because sometimes your perspective becomes your habit. Your habit becomes your perspective. And then, your identity becomes, somehow intertwined with your habit, your perspective, your group chats, because that brings you purpose, right? Propose. Would you propose that thought? Don't know. One of man did puja on me. Oh, and that's the there's divisive thinking, and then there's divisional thinking. To know yourself, I guess you don't have to know yourself. It's just, guessing, unless you have 3D glasses and friggin' the software to, to understand the efficacy of Google Maps. And what if they had Google Maps in your home? Does that mean I could watch you fuck? Does that mean I could, watch you fuck and read your comments? Because that's cool, man. I would... really? You can tell me that it's cool until, I'm like, you know what? Somebody shut this guy up. Do you love, do you love your jobs? Does your job love you? marriage is an institution, so, would that be a professional practice? Live long and prosper, Start your own genre, and then, laugh at the people that try to somehow, throw shade. I'm gonna throw shade and an umbrella of, sticks. Yeah, you can stick with your rhetoric because I used to hire girls at shows, to go-go dance. You will remember the views of, I don't know why I love it, Actually not, school is still not bad. When schools, started to utilize laptops and computers, not just in the computer lab, they had the smart tablet thing for the wall to teach the kids how to be real grown adults. I used to call you Little Princess because was 7th grade at the time. Hashtag learn how to be cool. Maybe I remember now. To realize that whenever you speak, more than a lot, what if a lot learned to speak? And there would not be error or era in practice because essentially, your awareness of practice and era and, and genocide would be from your perspective, to be the kind of person who claims to own people, and somehow to your existence to be, above the, spectacle existence of the symmetry of syllabus. I hear that every state has a different syllabus. For a reason, This stupid chatter can't be her. You were sitting, waiting, wishing, and reality would believe in superstition. Then maybe we'd see the signs. And Lord knows that this world is cruel. Not the Lord, no, I'm just a fool. And loving somebody don't make them love you. Must I always be, must in your odyssey always be waiting? Stiggity, college, ugh. Hate summer. Because marriage is an institution. And, math is, an equation. Would you measure the equation of math to be, known within the existence of a 30-year span? In 30 years, a lot could happen. then you have adults acting like they're still 4 years old, you know. That's when you start, utilizing the essence and of efficacy of optical illusion. Oh, I could be over here and I could say this, and it could matter this way. What if a boring chat was literally your job? Oh, are you having fun at your job? How dare you? Did I know that you would, mention words and things? Oh, thank you.
You took the black ones
Mm-hmm.
today?
Yeah. Perfect companion for my textbook. Don't tell your parents that you're gay unless your parents, order, hookers from Craigslist to Craigslist, Facebook, they have Instagram. And I'm just now realizing, there's so many ways that you could, perform business. Business tasks, business security. Evolution. Yeah, evolve beyond your expiration date. It's alright. Did you know that there's a whole blog of people trying to create your expiration date? Yeah, you didn't know it was a whole genre, niche of practice. Yep. Mostly including, the unknown world of navigating online. Navigating the online realm. I feel like. Is it fun? How's life there? Is it fun? Hello? What do you do? What's your age? Didn't I ask you if it was fun? You have brain like the good students, right? Have a head to hit, And your honesty doesn't naturally have role models. So whenever there is nothing to believe, then maybe I'll observe your practice of being such a boss, because you have money. And you can make purpose from money, You could buy people's purpose nowadays. Gold digger. I knew that we would come around to this question. And to think that the time that In Your Odyssey would come around to questioning her reality, and herself. Because, didn't you know that, I could have had interactions, programmed interactions, way before 30. So, unless you had an insecurity there, no judgment. No judgment. I don't necessarily live my life by the okay hit commercials that are on TV. Don't worry about that. I want you to make good friendship, and with me, wherever I am, important, let me tell you about yourself. about yourself. Oh yeah, whenever somebody is, tries to speak to you because they're like, oh, that person's mine, or were you trying to mention that is my kind of person? Because reading comments, is a job, is a lifestyle, is a career, to kind of guide people and boss people around at the same time. And what if everyone, zone 1 through zone 6? As if the editors don't, already, plan, who's going to be on, who's going to be on the headlines today. Or why there would, let's not mention why there would be headlines, because we wouldn't find that person similar to Say and Giant Bob. Say and Giant Bob. I'm not ignoring you. I was, watching a movie about Say and Giant Bob. Who the fuck? What? Say and Giant Bob. Can we have a golf clap, a round of applause for Say and Giant Bob in the chat? No, not Giant Bob. Giant. Like lentil soup. Like I lent you some, Say and Giant Bob. I lent you, I know I lent you something. Oh yeah, it was my freaking friendship. As if, somebody was not going to mention to me that, where my business is in, friendship. You don't ask yourself, how far does neuroticy extend? Because I like you very much. Believe you, bro. I believe in miracles. Where you from? You sexy thing, sexy thing. In the Bible, it says that God shall set you straight. And allow me to laugh whenever you're wrong or whenever you're like, I'm winning. Because isn't there some sort of politics to who can always win? I still respect you. I don't know why there, I would mention division and era, What if, the era of division, realize divisive thinking and, that's unstiggity. I'm gonna stand over here with this girl because, she's cool. And who would have known that a 30-year-old could be entertaining while practicing, I love European very much. Good. On a 7-year-old, then you have to marriage. I mean, to be a country boy, you would realize that it's kind of in the lifestyle to marry, experiences. And if you were already married, and your Odyssey shall learn. Hey, your Odyssey! Hey, your Odyssey! You matter. Maybe, learn why. Because moderation of true friends in the production of experience when we meet. Yeah, that would be better. Why do I have Liz ER in your eyes? So, I was just beginning to mention wondering about, there's a Puerto Rican that looks like me. Yeah, as if that Puerto Rican is not. I'm not promoting, fuck you. Or is there how to say promoting, there's not enough room in this world for the two of us. You have sponsors, and your Odyssey has freaking dreams. All the dreams shall be blessed, And don't be scared. What time is it in your country? And how's your family now? I'm being targeted laser. It's on my forehead. There's this thing right here. And it is quantum science. And it has a, what is that, it has a serial pin. And it wards off 5G energy. So, similar to what aura would be. Because science has been, mentioning to me that everyone has an aura. If your aura is of importance, I can turn off your technology. Depending how bad or how good you are, you won't know about it. You are unmuted. I was thinking about making a spin wheel and having a spin wheel game stream. I don't know want to know where you're from when you're hungry. Teach tolerance. I have $5. That is too much money for you to try to tell me what I can and can't tolerate. I bought a radio station. beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can bring me down. Oh no, 'cause you are beautiful in every single way. Words can bring me down. Don't you bring me down today. No matter what they do, no matter what they say. I slept till around 6. It is looking for my cell phone, and I realized, aren't friends about a dime a dozen? Let me, first calculate how I want to map out the structure of existence, because doesn't everyone have, some sort of quality about them that is obsessed with, better living and abundance? We have Hollywood and Bollywood, and the critics' opinions. Create, action and stunt experiences from the art of production. There's so many different movie companies. Stop floating here, or Hamad will find you. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. Hey, Rod, he's practicing standing on business. Don't worry, we're all friends here. What happened to the Jehovah's Witnesses? Wouldn't it be nice if, people would knock on your door and tell you about Jesus? A mood cycle. Yes, there are mood cycles. I have this piece of paper with a bunch of faces on it, and, each face describes a different emotion, Have you ever faced, someone having an opinion about you? I don't know, have you ever been popular enough to be, had opinions about? Have opinions about. Have opinions about, the popular thing. The thing that you heard on the radio, you heard on the news or something, have an opinion. As if, there is not a way of things and stuff and such. The practice of things and stuff and such really isn't the question. And nor is it the question your understanding of your perspective of things and stuff and such. Because that's your experience. Your life was composed of these experiences. And to enjoy time with people, through FaceTime, to have a favorite show. Shout out Mr. Rogers, because, he's very educational. My name is beautiful. Don't mention the children right now. Are you ignoring me? So, the practice of experience. If you know yourself, and you don't, practice the enjoyment of, furthering people's lives, through the, agenda of happy experience, It's not necessarily a movie production to have a good friend nowadays. Maybe it is, So what if your friends were paid actors? Have you just become aware of how the freaking government works? Things and stuff and such, be overconsumed in, your niche existence. And, your niche existence. Yeah, because some people find the way. Some people are the way. Some people make the way. Some people evolve the way. What if, the people that you looked up to were no longer the people that you looked up to anymore, based on how they, ran their businesses. Or had practiced, within their fair share of, life, liberty, and, the existence of Stiggity being better than you. Sorry to interrupt. We think it's important. A PC is running 16 outdated system drivers. And the PC might experience sudden failures, blue screen errors, application freezes, and crashes without the latest driver updates. It's highly recommended to install the latest driver updates to improve system stability, performance, and security. There are 24,829 updates available. drugs, you know, because drugs are bad. No one ever mentioned ever. To mention something, you know, whenever that became a trend, that was a trend. You know, to mention something and, you know, oh, the abundance of me actually giving a fuck about you, what your opinion is, you know, or your existence, you know, not just existentially. Because isn't that an era? An era of glam and fashion, you know, an era of, you know, allowing, you know, there to be a group. Oh, your youngest is 40? Aw. My youngest and oldest is 30. Yeah, I know. Kind of an outside of the box thinker. An outside of the box thinker. One day, you're social, become good friends. We'll meet in foreign and enjoy everything in hotel. You know. Don't let your enjoyment become your downfall. You know, and don't let your downfall become, you know, your practice. You know, your practice, you know, becomes perfection through interfacing. Interface with, you know, with your fucking, you know, with your sex doll. Is, you know, the new fad on the market, though, you know, I just haven't been sure if I want to necessarily, you know, mark myself as knowing who, no, alright, so, if you know you're Puerto Rican and you know you're better than Puerto Rican, or if you know you're Chinese and you know you're better than Chinese, you know, or if you know, time heals all wounds. You know? So, to know the research of sleep study and the relevance of, you know, not statistics, the relevance of personal opinion, you know, to either be a bunch of weirdos, you know, and circle jerk. That's what we call a circle jerk. You know, oh, you know, you see what I did right there? That was magic. That was magic. You know, oh, look at me. I had an effect in the world. That's magic. Oh, you know, you realize how they just moved right there? That's magic. Oh my gosh. You know? You know, I must be, you know, so important to be, you know, a part of the existence. I must exist to, you know, watch you die. You know, to realize there's so many different deaths. There's the death of the ego, you know, and once, you know, you come around to experiencing ego death, you know, don't fucking try to fucking practice your preaching to me, because I'm thinking about mathematics. I'm thinking about the relevance of your life, you know, because if I need to kill you in order for me to live longer, you best believe, you know, best believe I have a gun to your head. And to know that, you know, to know how you could go, you know, would be to find your controls. Because are you a remote? Are you a control? Are you a troll? Do you read the internet, or is that, you know, a part of your life, your day-to-day scroll? You know, scroll through TikTok, scroll through Instagram, scroll, you know, oh, I'm gonna create a scroll. I remember when TikTok was cheeser, you know, to have $1 in a dream. Of course I would save my dollar. You don't think I would save my dollar? I would save my dollar and I would place it on my mirror. Oh, you have a dollar? You have a dollar and, you know, your dream is to be in a similar business to me, you know? Just, you know, stream, hang out with the chat for a while. Maybe read the chat, maybe don't read the chat, you know. What is chat anyway? Imagine the actors of Disney Plus know how to, you know, be creators. Be creators. Be creators. Don't mention if you respect somebody if you think you're better than them. And to, you know, be better. Be I'm not gonna hold your opinion hostage for 30 years to see what you do with it. You know? What you do or what you don't do with it. Because the beauty of creation is, you know, you're not necessarily creating art for your art to be a statistic of data, just another print, you know? You wouldn't create art to, you know, embarrass the essence of the conveyed, you know, understanding. And you don't have to be mad at, you know, experience, you know, judged on how you decide to utilize it. When will we meet after how many years? It has been 1 minute and 9 seconds. Many more an era to enjoy. Because why not? Why not? So it is my last question. I already knew how you would, you know, utilize people as tools, you know. Statistically, a tool of my rhetoric, you know. 17 girl means, and your honesty is so old. Try again. Chickadee Hoodles. It's been 1 hour and 11 minutes. And we lit! And we lit! Shout out experience! Shout out, interpreting Egyptian codes. In the dancery. Delightful vibes, guys.
Turn the fuck up.
Delightful vibes, guys.